to like write things or like negating confusing symbols and all that. We finished up with inductive and deductive reasoning and determining the difference between them. So the next thing is using the law of detachment, and it says to state whether the argument is valid and to explain your reasoning. So 24, if two adjacent angles form a right angle, and I'm using little symbols to try to shorten this because this is a long statement, then the two angles are complementary because angle A and angle C are complementary. Angle A and angle C are adjacent. Now, they had pictures with this as well. So, this was angle A, was 30 degrees. Angle B, they didn't tell us what it is. And then angle C, they said was 60 degrees. Now, they don't really specify in the problem if you're supposed to use the pictures, but being that they gave us pictures with these, I would assume that we probably need them. All right, so we're deciding if this statement is valid or not. So if two adjacent angles, I'm supposed to say form. If two adjacent angles form a right angle, then the two angles are complementary. Because angle A and angle C are complementary, angle A and angle C are adjacent. Is this valid or not? Given the picture. Is the statement valid given the picture that we have? I did my best to copy it like the book. Are angle A and angle C adjacent in the picture? No, because they are not touching. So, while angle A and angle C are complementary, because one's 30 degrees and one's 60 degrees, that adds up to 90 degrees, which forms our right angle. Angle A and angle C are not adjacent, so this is not valid. And we would say angle A and angle C are complementary, but not adjacent. This one wants us to use the law of syllogism to write the statement that follows from the pair of statements. They give us two statements, and the first one is, if the sun is shining, then it is a beautiful day. Then the second statement, if it is a beautiful day, then we will have a picnic. So just as a refresher while we're finishing writing that down, if P implies Q and Q implies R are both true statements, then P implies R. So the way that this would be is the sun is shining is statement P. Then it is a beautiful day. That's going to be Q. This next statement starts with it is a beautiful day. So that's Q again. And then this is R here. We will have a picnic. So P implied Q and Q implies R. So our law of syllogism says then that P implies R. So our statement is going to be if the sun is shining, then we will have a picnic. All right, the next problems, they give you these like statements about something and you're filling in the blank with like, they show you like what your options are. It's like may not, or must, or like is, or something like that. But they're going to give you 3 options and you need to figure out based on what the statement says, which word needs to fill in the blank. So you can circle it, just pick the right one when you do it. I don't care, however you want to do it. So 34, I'm going to say Kolob, I don't really know, Kolob, arch is the world's widest natural arch. The world's widest natural arch is in Zion National Park. Random side note, but if you ever have a chance to go to Zion, highly recommend it. It is beautiful. So, the Kolob arch, and then this is where they put parentheses and they put your different word options, is, maybe, or is not in Zion. So, which word do you think is needed to fill in that final statement?
Is.
Yep, is. Because we know that the arch is the widest arch. The widest arch is in Zion, so for the same reason that we had in 30, then the arch has to be in Zion. So we would fill in with that. Trying to figure out how I want to do these problems. All right, the next few problems, 36 through 42, they have to be done in order or it's going to be confusing. So I'm going to do a couple of them and then I'm going to leave the last few for you to do. So most of them will be odd, but there's going to be like 2 even ones probably thrown in here. So they give us a picture for 36 through 42. It's got lines going like this. It's basically parallel lines like that. And then there's lines that are, well, parallel to each other, perpendicular to those, going through it this way. And then this is 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, and 5. Huh? I don't know. They just don't need it for, I guess, whatever they're asking. They're just giving you the information that you need. They tell us in the instructions that the measure of angle 2 is 115 degrees. They tell us that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. And that angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. Bless you. All right, so then they give us problems, and we're going to basically explain why the statement is true. Okay, so number 36, and they label these like statements. It's going to be, or well, like these pieces of the statement, I guess, like in order. So this is P1, is the measure of angle 2 is equal to 115 degrees. Well, the reason for that, they told us that. It's a given. So we write given. Anytime we're doing like a proof going forward, so in the next couple of sections we'll start having those, the first thing that you're always going to write is your given statement, what you're told to be true. Okay? So that's our given.
It's told to be what?
True. Like they've told you that that's there. All right, 37. P1 implies P2. So this is going to be if the measure of angle 2 is equal to 115 degrees, then the measure of angle 1 is equal to 65 degrees. Well, why might that be true? Yep, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, so they have to add up to 180. So if this is 115, then this has to be 65. So I would say something like angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Therefore, and this symbol here, you might see me use, it's a shorthand for the word therefore. I don't know why it's shorthand for therefore, but my professors in college taught us to do this. It's like 3 dots that make a triangle, but it's a much shorter way than writing therefore every time that you want to write something. So, so therefore, the measures add up to 180 degrees. All right, so this is like P1. This part is like our P2. Okay, so here's the P2. That was P1. This will be important as you go down the row so you can see things. So then 38, P2 implies P3. So if, don't die over there, if the measure of angle 1 is equal to 65 degrees, then the measure of angle 4 is equal to 65 degrees. Well, why would that be true? Nope. What are we told in the original problem statement? They're congruent. So, does it make sense that they have to be the same value? Yes. So, my reason here would be angle 1 and angle 4 are congruent. Therefore, their measures are equal. All right, I'll do 39, and then I'm going to leave you 40, 41, and 42 to do.
That's the 3 dots, right?
Yeah. So if you want to write it out, that's therefore, sorry, it's kind of There. All right, so 39. Or here, let me back up. So this was P2 here, so then M4, or measure of angle 4 is equal to 65. That's our P3. Okay. So question 39 is P3 implies P4. If the measure of angle 4 is equal to 65 degrees, then the measure of angle 3 is equal to 65 degrees. Well, why would that be true? What do we know about angle 4 and angle 3? Well, they are, but why? They're congruent, but why are they congruent? What is...
They're opposite of each other. I forgot the term.
Yep, does anybody know what the name is? Yep, they're vertical angles. So, because they're opposite of each other here. So if they're opposite, they have to have the same measure. So we would say that basically angle 4 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Therefore, their measures are equal. Okay, so our P4 statement is that the measure of angle 3 is 65 degrees. So we already know what 1, 2, 3, and 4 are. So they still got to find 5 and 6. Okay, so y'all will do 40, 41, and 42 on your own as part of your homework. You don't need to recopy all of this. You just need to copy the statement and then whatever else.
Wait, what numbers again?
Well, I'll give you all of them in a minute, but 40, 41, and 42 will be a continuation of this. All right, the last couple problems here, they give us 4 statements, and then we're going to explain if the conclusion is true or false. So for 45 through 48, we're told in the instructions, essentially, are what we know. If Diego goes shopping, then he will buy a pretzel. If the mall is open, then Angela and Diego will go shopping. If Angela goes shopping, then she will buy a pizza. And then the last thing they tell us is the mall is open. So this is kind of like detective work that you're going to be doing. And there's a assignment that I'm going to give you that's kind of more like a project that will be the equivalent of a test grade that will require you to take some of the stuff that you're told, and then you have to find other things to solve out whatever they're giving you. I'll explain it more when I actually give it out, but should be a fun, hopefully relatively easy assignment. And I have another thing that's going to be extra credit for your test. So that's easier. Much easier. All right. So problem 46 says Angela and Diego went shopping. And we're trying to decide, is this true or false? Okay? How do you know that it's true?
The mall is open,
The mall is open, and it says if the mall is open, they will go shopping. right? So this is true. And you could say, just as, I don't really care about the reason, but the mall is open. All right, 48.
Do we have to give our reasoning on our homework?
It says to explain, but just saying something like this is fine. You don't have to give the mall is open, so they went shopping. Like, you can just say the mall's open and that. Or you could also number the statements. You could be like, okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3 and 4. And you could be like, I mean, you could refer to them that way if you want to shorten it. That's fine too. 48. Diego had some of Angela's pizza. Why?
Since you bought pretzel.
Yep. She bought a pizza. What did he eat? Yep. He got a pretzel. False. Diego ate a pretzel. And all you have to go off of is what you know. Okay? Like, yes, obviously there is a hypothetical possibility that she didn't eat all of her pizza and she gave him some. But were we told that? No. So we only can go off of the statements that we know. Okay? Any questions about this? All right. Then you have the rest of the time to work on problems. So let's see. 9, 13, 15, 19, 23, 31, 35, and then 40 through 42, which is the remainder of the problems that we did up there, and then 45 and 47, which are the other problems about Angela and Diego. All right, so you got 25 minutes.